Hello students, we are meeting for our next lecture of polymer chemistry, and in the last lecture we have seen some polymer structure, nomenclature, some properties, thermodynamic properties of polymer, then classification of polymer based on various characteristics. Now today we'll see the discuss polymers and polymerization process of some important polymers. Means here under this topic we are going to discuss some of the important uh, polymers specifically. Okay, so first polymer is nylon 66. Okay, now why the name nylon 66 is given? Look at the polymerization process. Uh, so here what happens, the two monomer units are there. uh, One is adipic acid, other is hexamethylene diamine. You can look at here, both are having two, you can say this is dibasic acid, this is diacidic base. Okay, so means there are two linking units in each molecule, so they can undergo condensation polymer. But if you carefully observe both the reactants, that mm, there are six carbons. Look at here in adipic acid, two carbons of the acidic group and four carbons of methylene. So this is one molecule with six carbon. This is also another monomer unit containing six carbon, and therefore it is called as nylon 66. Nylon 66. It is not 66. It is 6 comma 6. So it is nylon 66. So nylon 66 is a polyamide manufactured by condensation polymerization of adipic acid and hexamethylene diamine. It is called as nylon 66 because both monomers contain 6 carbon. An aqueous solution of hexamethylene is treated with aqueous solution of adipic acid. Then the mixture is warmed at 75 degrees Celsius. Okay, at high pressure in absence of air. When nylon salt is formed, look at this, initially this nylon salt, water is then evaporated from the salt solution and salt is heated to 280 degrees Celsius. You can see here in the inert atmosphere. Okay, uh, inert atmosphere why there is a need of inert atmosphere? To prevent the oxidation. Heating is continued for 3 hours when the molecule of salt polymerizes to give collinear polymer called nylon 66. It is at the end. Nylon 66 is colorless solid. To get fiber it is melted, and the melt is forced through fine orifices of spinnerets in the chamber in which cold air is circulated. To increase the strength and elasticity, fibers are stretched several times of their original length. Okay, means this molten mass is passed through orifice in small holes so that it forms the fibers. Okay, and they spinneret means continuously they undergo spinning action. Means as soon as the thread is formed, it gets spinned, and you will see the long rope is formed. Now what are the properties? The properties of this nylon is it has high tensile strength, elasticity, melting point 263, low affinity for water, hydrophobic, microorganism moth do not affect nylon 66. That is, and they are, it is resistant to chemical attack and variety of substances. It is also not affected by seawater and dry cleaning liquids. It is insoluble in almost inorganic solvent but readily dissolves in phenol and formic acid. So these are the properties. And what are the uses? It is used in making sails, piece of that is a piece of cloth, usually canvas, fishing nets, lines, laundry bags and oil filters. It is used for driving belts, conveyor belting, reinforcing for rubber tires, artificial fur coats, lifting gears and sieves. Due to high tenacity, elasticity is used for manufacture of ropes, parachutes, safety belts, gliders, or rope glider, tow ropes, shear stockings and underwears. And blends of this nylon staple with wool are also commercially used for socks, cardigans, and suitings. So these are the various uses of nylon 66. Next polymer is terylene, which is also called as Dacron. Terylene is British name for Dacron. Okay, it is a polyester manufactured by condensation polymer. This is again one more polymer made up of condensation polymerization of dimethyl terephthalate and ethylene glycol, and hence the name is given terylene, means ter from terephthalate and from ethylene lean. So from terephthalate prefix, from ethylene suffix, so terylene. Okay, so this is the name terylene is given. The manufacturing reaction process is as shown here. So here ethylene glycol and DMT, it reacts with dimethyl terephthalate. This terephthalic acid, the dimethyl ester of the terephthalic acid, and they react here. Just a simple condensation reaction. The polyester chips are formed here when monomer is heated in vacuum for 260 to 300 degrees Celsius to form terylene polymer by polymerization reaction. The polyester chips are dried and then fed into hopper. Then they are passed into melting vessels and forced through spinneret. The solidified filament are brought together and passed through draughtist machine so that the yarns are stretched 5 times its length. Okay, so in this way this terylene dacron is prepared, and its properties are very simple. It is insoluble in almost all inorganic and organic solvents. It is resistant to many chemical, microorganisms and friction. It is strong, has good elasticity. It absorbs very little water, due to which cloth made of terylene dry quickly, and it has crease resistance property and require very little ironing. Means cloth made up of this terylene are having these properties. Okay, nowadays very few people are using, because it is very good to wear the cotton cloth than this plastic type of cloth. Okay, now the uses of this terylene is, most important use of terylene is textile industry. Clothes are made up of pure terylene and can be blended with wool and with cotton. Means terry wool, terry cotton. Okay, terylene can be made into films and are used in making magnetic recording tapes recorders. High tensile strength of these fibers have been used in making conveyor belts, safety belts, fishing nets, ropes, sails, dry bags, covers for houses, and paper making belts. So these are the uses of this terylene or dacron. Then we'll go to the next very important polymer, that is rubber. And this rubber can be natural rubber or synthetic rubber. At the beginning of this chapter I told you, when this natural rubber ball made up by these tribal people, these voyagers get surprised to see that object. Okay, so what is this natural rubber? Natural rubber is high molecular weight linear hydrocarbon which exhibit elasticity, that is very important, and other rubber like properties. Natural rubber is obtained from latex. This is a white liquid which is present in the rubber tree. Okay, when you cut the stem of rubber tree, you will find that white liquid is coming. Sometimes it is called as weeping tree also. And the latex contains about 30 to 40% rubber solid and 55 to 60% water, and it depends on age of the tree also. Natural rubber is a polymer made up of a repeating unit, and that repeating unit is isoprene. Okay, isoprene means here 2 methyl 1,3 dibutadiene, that is IUPAC name. So here this isoprene unit undergo polymerization, okay, at the first and fourth carbon, and the second and third carbon, they get converted to single bond to double bond. Okay, so here this is the structure of natural rubber. The latex is colloidal solution, means this natural rubber solution is a colloidal solution of rubber particles in water. The latex is coagulated by acetic acid or formic acid, or potassium or ammonium alum. Means if you add any ionic thing, what will happen, the water will be easily removed, and this rubber organic part is get isolated. When cheese like mass separates out, this pass through roller after washing it water with water to obtain pale yellow variety of crepe rubber. Okay, now what are the properties of natural rubber? Everybody knows, very simple. It is a amorphous solid, it is transparent, sometimes it may or may not be, sometimes tough, it is elastic in nature, that is very important, and it is soluble in benzene, chloroform and carbon sulfide. And since it is in colloidal nature, it has no definite melting point or boiling point. It becomes softy and sticky in hot summer, while in cold it becomes brittle, hard and brittle. So these are the properties of this natural rubber. Now this rubber is made used to make the tires, but this tires can be, its strength can be increased by vulcanization process. Now what is the vulcanization process? That this in this accelerators, sulfur accelerators are added, like yes diphenyl thiourea or 2-mercaptobenzothiazole or tetramethylthiourine disulfide. So such sulfur sources are added, and these sulfur atoms, they are used for cross linking of this natural rubber polymer chain, and that these chains cross linking can be easily broken down and easily formed. Okay, so accelerators undergo fission to form free radicals, which then precipitate in cross linking process. Vulcanite or ebonite contains about 52% sulfur. It has good electrical insulation properties. If cross linking becomes extensive, rubber loses its elastic property and changes into plastic form of the rubber, that is ebonite. Okay, so this is the vulcanization that gives the strength to the rubber. Okay, then compounding of rubber by various things. Vulcanization is done after shaping of article. It is in this process raw rubber is compounded with sulfur, accelerator, antioxidant and fillers. When all these are mixed thoroughly, we get sticky plastic mass known as rubber stock. It is then converted into sheets, tubes or other articles of required shape. So accelerators, they are used as catalyst, reduce the time required for vulcanization. Okay, then antioxidants, they act as a age resistor, stops deterioration of rubber articles with age by light and air. Fillers, they increase the tensile strength and resistance to abrasion of rubber. Then plasticizers or softeners, they give more tenacity and adhesion to the rubber. Coloring agents, the desired color is important to the rubber by adding these coloring agents like ferric oxide or chromium trioxide. And then calendering process, the rubber stock is converted into sheets or shapes into tubings or other articles by passing through calendering machine. Automobile and cycle tires are fabricated with the help of coated fabric. The process of making coated fabric is known as calendering. Okay, this if thicker sheets are required, several thin sheets are rolled together in together, which eliminates air packets. Okay, so this is all about the natural rubber. Then we'll move ahead to the synthetic rubber. Artificially prepared rubbers like product which can be stretched more on its original strength and returns rapidly to original shape and dimension when stretching force is released. This is called as synthetic rubber. For example, the rubber band which you are using to tie the hairs, especially girls, that is a synthetic rubber. The first synthetic rubber was made by Germany during World War I, when Allied forces of America Britain cut off the supply of natural rubber to Germans. The starting material for this is 2,3-dimethyl butadiene. It is similar to isoprene. Only the thing, in isoprene there is only one methyl group at second carbon. Here it is at second and third carbon, two methyl groups are there. Okay, but the properties of the rubber are modified, and this was developed by further developed by polymerization of butadiene. Okay, so this butadiene and natrium means sodium. Okay, they it undergo polymerization to form this polymer, and this butadiene bu and natrium Na, so they combine and form buna. Okay, so this polymer is called as buna rubber. Okay, then next Russians also made the rubber from neoprene. Neoprene is this one, means compare with isoprene, replace the methyl group by chloride group gives you neoprene. Okay, which was the result of polymerization of 2-chlorobutadiene. Okay, the most important synthetic rubber of copolymer butadiene and styrene. This is also called as SBR, styrene butadiene rubber, or it is also called as GRS, government rubber styrene. Means same SBR is called as GRS. Okay, then uh, huh, sorry, more. So then we'll see. Huh, sorry. Then we'll move towards the Buna N. It is a copolymer of 75% butadiene and 25% acrylonitrile. It is prepared by emulsion polymerization. Dispersion medium is water. Means emulsion, for emulsion you need a dispersion medium. Means here you cannot call it as solvent, because solvent dissolves the solid. Here solvent is not dissolving solid, but it disperses. Okay, the emulsifying agent means here the solvent is not getting dissolved the solid, so there should be some mediator which brings the two phobic molecules together, that is called as emulsifying agent. Used in this process are soaps, fatty acids. Okay, and they form the micelles. So here uh, cumene hydroperoxide is used as a polymerization initiator. Means cumene hydroperoxide results in generation of free radical, and Fe2 plus salts are used as a polymerization promoters in small amounts, and Then Na2P4O7, that is sodium hypophosphate, is used as a complexing agent. To stop the reaction at desired point, change sweepers such as hydroquinone. Hydroquinone absorb the free radical. Free radicals are used as the initiator. When they are absorbed by this hydroquinone, the chain reaction will stop. They are all called as polymerization terminators. Okay, so what are the properties of this Buna N rubber? It shows excellent resistance to heat, sunlight, acids, oils, and salts. It is less resistant to alkalis than natural rubber. It is attributed to presence of cyano groups on account of presence of acrylonitrile in the copolymer. The product obtained in is solvent resistant rubber. It is constant it If the concentration of acrylonitrile is increased, the resistance to acid oil solvents also increase. The copolymer is low in tensile strength as it possesses irregular structure in SBR rubber. The tensile strength is increased by adding reinforcing pigment. Abrasion resistance is up to the mark. It is less resilient, that is elastic and rubbery, than natural rubber. Okay, it heat resistance is up to the standard. The freezing point also increases in addition in nitrile content. The vulcanized nitrile rubber is more resistant to heat and aging than natural rubber and many exposed to high temperature. When properly vulcanized with carbon black, it is used in petrol pipes and tanks. Okay, so these are the properties of Buna N rubber. Then it is used in making fuel tanks, gasoline hoses, that is tubing and pipes, conveyor belts, higher altitude aircraft components. It is also used in tank linings, gaskets, printing rollers, adhesives, oil resistant foams, and automobile parts. In the form of latex, it is used in impregnating paper, textile, and leather. Okay, so this is all about the Buna N rubber. Okay, now then we'll see next manufacture of styrene butadiene rubber, which is also called as SBR, and this same SBR is also called as GRS, that is government rubber styrene. Styrene butadiene rubber is manufactured by emulsion polymerization process. The polymer formed is in the colloidal latex form, similar to natural rubber, and then it is coagulated into solid rubber depending upon the temperature conditions. Two processes have been developed. Okay, means one is hot process, other is cold process. Hot process is at 52 degrees Celsius, okay, and cold process at 5 degrees Celsius. The structure of this SBR is indicated here. Either it can undergo 1,4 addition or 1,2 addition, both. Okay, so hot process, in this process butadiene 75% and styrene 25% are mixed to form an aqueous emulsion. Okay, and potassium thiosulfate 0.3% is used as initiator catalyst. Later on reaction proceeds in soap solution 5%, which acts as a catalyst. Sodium oleate and sodium rosinate are used as emulsifying agent. A modifier such as dodecyl mercaptan is also added and the reaction mixture is heated to 50 degree Celsius under pressure. When 70% monomers have been consumed, inhibitors such as hydroquinone are added. Okay, the polymerization is controlled by varying proportion of catalyst, modifier, and inhibitor. Polymer so formed is in the emulsion form. The unreacted butadiene and styrene are removed by distillation under reduced pressure. This gives the purified latex. Okay, It is treated with antioxidant such as phenyl beta naphthylamine and then coagulated with adding acids and salt. The coagulated rubber is then filtered. The solid mass is washed with water and dried through the rotary vacuum filter. It is then pulverized in the hammer, okay, a hammer mill, and then passed into solid blocks and then packed. Okay, this is all about the hot process. Then cold process. Recently, copolymerization of butadiene and styrene has been carried out at temperature of 5 degrees Celsius in presence of redox system, and they are consisting of cumene hydroperoxide as initiator, glucose as reducing agent. All other procedures are similar to hot process. The time required for cold process is more than the hot process. In cold process, the chain length is controlled and polymer of desired molecular weight is obtained. The cold rubber has more regular structure and improved properties than hot rubber. Okay, so what are the properties of the GRS or SBR? In some respect, it is superior to natural rubber. With age, these are less changes in the structure. Its thermal stability is also more than natural rubber. And this SBR rubber has a less tensile strength, tear resistance, and is more brittle than natural rubber. So because of these properties, its uses are: hot SBR used for floor tiles, coated fabrics, soles, and for increasing impact strength of plastic. Cold rubber is used for car tires, footwears, and belts, carpet backing compounds, and adhesives. Recently, SBR is used for treatment of coil, films of latex sprayed on sand or loose soil sprayed, prevent erosion by wind, and also plant seeds to germinate without being washed by blown away. Okay, so these are the various uses of this uh, synthetic rubber, that is SBR. Now similarly you have various kinds of polymers, that is polyvinyl chloride, that is PVC. Then Teflon is there, polytetrafluoroethylene. Then polythene is there, and then polythene. Then you have silicon polymers, then silicon oil, epoxy resins, phenyl, these resins of different types, and then biomedical polymer. So these are just how they are prepared, what are their properties, what are their uses. Only on these 3 points they are discussed, there is nothing to explain. So that's why I asked, keep it as a homework for you. And what is the homework? That whatever rest of the remaining polymers that you have to read in the book and study it well. Okay, this is the just the part of mugging up. Okay, nothing to explain. So we'll stop here. If you have any doubt, difficulty, you can ask me on Google Classroom. Thank you.